Welcome to The Right Stuff. I'm Sheena and today I'm joined by Tamara. Surprise! Great minds. Alright, Tamara, what are we talking about today?
Today we're talking about Vanity Publishing versus Self-Publishing.
Okay, what on earth is Vanity Publishing?
Okay, Vanity Publishers are publishers that writers can hire to publish their books. So basically you're paying a publisher to take on your book.
Is this a genuine thing?
It's a genuine thing. Most people see it as a scam, and in a lot of cases it is a scam. However, a lot of the big publishers, so think Random House, Penguin, although I think they're now all the same company.
Yeah.
The big publishers all have actual vanity publishing houses under them. So they use the cash of like the bigger companies to, we're very reputable, but they actually really are not. And why this is dangerous is that a lot of people prefer to go through a vanity publisher because they see it as traditional publishing. They think that signing with a publisher has a lot more weight than self-publishing.
But wait, let me get this right. So you, as an author, are paying somebody to publish your book?
Yes. So Acme Vanity Publishing comes along and says, hey, we're looking for new authors or however they market themselves. And you come along as an author and you pay them your $20,000, whatever it's been agreed on, and then they publish your book for you.
Is there any actual benefits to this?
I'm a big believer that there is not, because you're paying them money, money should never flow that way in a publishing relationship. Money should flow from the publisher to an author, never from an author to a publisher.
So how does royalties work? Does this publishing company then take a piece of the royalties as well?
I'm actually not sure. It will probably depend on the company. So how do you spot a vanity publisher? Because there are a lot of smaller publishing houses out there that are genuine. You also get imprints, like Amazon has its own imprint, and they will sometimes approach an author and say, hey, we'd like to print your book. And that's completely legitimate.
I imagine that if you have to pay as an author for something, that is not...
That's the biggest neon sign right there. You should never have to pay to be published. So keep that in mind.
You're right, because even Amazon, you don't pay to be published.
No.
They take a piece of the action once you sell books, but if you don't sell books, they don't take a piece of the action.
Yeah. Amazon, if you're self-publishing through them, they act like a publisher, like a traditional publisher. They just take a fraction of the sales.
Yeah, a much smaller percentage than a traditional publisher.
And the thing is, there are so many great authors that self-published. Mark Twain, I think even Virginia Woolf was self-published.
Really?
Yes. So don't look at self-publishing as something bad. If you can't find a traditional publisher that wants to publish you, go out and do it yourself. But don't fall into the trap of vanity publishing.
Okay, so self-publishing. Let's talk about what self-publishing is.
Okay, so self-publishing is you as an author taking control of selling your own books and marketing your own books. What that means nowadays is that in most cases you're not going to be printing, you're going to be selling your books digitally. So through something like Amazon, Kobo, you're not looking at someone else to do it for you. Does that make sense?
It does. The thing for me with self-publishing is that there's a great divide, the size of the Grand Canyon, between authors who are professional at self-publishing and authors who do it badly.
And who bring down the whole side.
And I'm glad to say that there is a whole lot of really great self-published authors in lesbian fiction. But the thing is, what they do is they look at the publishing process and they go, okay, I need a professional editor, I need a professional cover designer, in fact, some people use two editors, two different editors. Like Kiki Archer has two editors. She's got her strict editor, which she uses second after she's used her other editor.
It makes sense. The thing is, if you want to sustainably sell books, you need to look super professional. It's like any other product out there. You need to have something that people want to buy and that people value. If you look like you're self-published, and I'm using air quotes here because there's this whole thing of self-published books have bad editing, the storylines are bad, the covers are bad. I mean, there are so many self-published books nowadays who are done so well that you would never say that they were self-published.
Absolutely.
So it's completely doable.
It is doable. The thing is, it's also not bad to go with a publisher. Because if you're not one of these people that likes to take charge and make everything happen yourself, then go with a publisher. Sit and
Completely.
write. Be a writer. There's authors who are super successful and they're published with publishers.
Completely. So let's just talk about that for a second. Choosing how to publish your book. Traditional publishers are obviously the biggest goal that most writers have because they carry the most kudos. I mean, if you say I'm a published author with Random House, I mean, that's huge, right?
Right.
Right. However, let's be realistic. How many people are actually going to land a book deal? Not very many.
Not very many, and you have to go, like, I don't even know if Random House, for example, takes manuscripts from authors. I think you have to have an agent.
Probably, but my point is more along the lines of
no, but my point is it becomes more complicated.
No, it is very complicated. And the thing is, just because a traditional publisher says no to your book, it doesn't mean that your book is bad. Secondly, if you want to make money, if you want to make a living out of writing, then you need to look at self-publishing seriously because you're never going to get there with a traditional publisher.
I don't know if I agree with you. Because in Lesfic particularly, I know of authors who are publishing about 3 books a year with a publisher who are making a decent living.
Sure, but again, those guys are going to be the few.
Absolutely, they are the outliers. And you do get a smaller percentage with a publisher. But here's what you do get with a publisher. You get your cover designed and you get your book edited.
Okay, but I have to say that right there is a huge discrepancy. Like, well, not a huge discrepancy. Right there is where my argument comes in. I think so many publishers fail on marketing, they fail on cover design, and they fail in the editing process. So if you know that you can do that, or that you can at least hire someone good to do that, then take a stab at it.
I think blanket statements like that are difficult. I disagree with you. I think that there's a misnomer that people who are published are going to miraculously become the next J.K. Rowling because the publishers are going to market them and they're going to become more famous. It doesn't work that way. You're going to get an editor and you're going to get a cover design and you're going to get like a spot on their website and maybe a spot on their newsletter.
And that's it.
In Lesfic, the big publishers also tend to have like reviewer email lists. So I will get an email once a month saying these are the new books. Which would you like to review? And then I can pick and choose which ones I want to review. So you get that. In terms of marketing with publishers, right?
Look, with a traditional publisher, you do get that. And if you go with someone who's got a lot of clout in the industry, they can also get you spaces in bookshops if they think your book is worth it, if they think your book is actually worth printing physical copies. So how do you spot a vanity publisher so that you don't fall into the trap? The first thing is that they will advertise themselves on their website. So a publisher who is out there selling their authors will have a website that's dedicated to their books, to the books of the author. It won't be a homepage talking about their services and how wonderful they are as publishers. It will be about selling the books of the authors because that's where it lies. Okay, next up is that vanity publishers generally earn money from authors, not readers. So they're actually not making money off of royalties or book sales. The money that they're making comes from that investment that the author has made. So those are 2 ways to spot a vanity publisher. And they will also ask you to purchase a certain amount of books from them that you've published with them. And sometimes this can be quite big quantities. Like you'll need to buy a minimum of 500 books, 1,000 books.
500 books is a lot of books.
It is. Like I think buying 1,000 books like technically gets you onto the New York's bestseller list kind of a thing. So that's a lot of books.
And then what the heck do you do with them?
I suppose you turn around and try to sell them.
Yeah, but that just doesn't make any sense to me.
No, and
from a business point of view, you're going to spend all this time trying to flog these hard copies of books rather than actually making any money out of it.
Well, that's the thing. So, I mean, with the Vanity Publishing, all you can say is that I'm a published author, here is my book. And that's pretty much it, because a lot of times these publishing houses don't even have relationships with things like bookstores or with online booksellers, so they're not going to do that. They're probably also not going to really market your book. They might have some sort of email list that they send out to, or they might have a sales platform on their own website, but that's all you're getting.
So basically, stay away from the vanity press publishers and self-publish rather, or go for a
Traditional publisher.
traditional publisher.
Yeah, depending on what your goals are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Tell us if you've had any particular questions, experience, or comments.
And if you do get contacted by a publishing house, there are websites that are comprehensive lists of vanity publishers, and it actually lists them like as scams or whatever. So go have a look on one of those first. Just Google it. It's easy to find before you enter into any deals. And remember, you should never be paying a publisher.
Amen. Royalties is a different matter.
Yeah, no, royalties are completely different. But
you're not paying out of your own pocket, it's out of earnings that your publisher's helping you make.
No, but you shouldn't ever have to make a
down payment.
Yeah.
I'm Sheena.
And I'm Tamara.
And this has been The Right Stuff. Don't forget to subscribe and rate this podcast. If you like what we're doing, tell everybody about it.
And if you have questions about becoming an author, writing, marketing your books,
come talk to us on Facebook at the Lesbian Talk Show chat group. Okay, bye.
Bye. Today we're talking about vanishing
something. Ghosts. We're talking about ghosts.
Vanity Publishing are publishers who
drive motorbikes. Vanish.